ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Force from Iron. And as we always start with our little plea for you to like, comment on and share the stream, subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. As always, we thank you very much indeed for your support. And talking of support, Duke, we always encourage people to support the Iron Supporting Food Bank charity. I will put the link in the chat momentarily for people to get stuck into. Please do consider giving to the Just Giving link on the page. They operate in the Newham Borough area and they do a lot of good work for some families in that borough that are struggling to put food on the table. So give generously. You know, it makes sense. We're helping our own guys and we are massive. So let's do a massive thing and help people in need. And again, we thank you very much indeed for your support in this matter. So, Duke, we are here. Sorry?
I also want to encourage people to wear sun cream. I've really just caught a glimpse of myself for the first time since I got back from holiday yesterday on camera. I look very red, Rob. I mean, what is the state of this? Look at this. Like, what is going on? Very red. So put your sun cream on, people.
Put your sun cream on. Well, we got a special guest, haven't we, Duke? And I'm pretty sure that he's clever enough to know that you need to put on sunscreen when the sun's beating down and you're out in the elements for hours on end. I bet you any money that Jake Cox knows.
Everywhere we go,
he knows to put sunscreen on. How you doing, Jake?
Yeah, not bad, mate. You?
Not bad, not bad. So, as it says on the banner, we've got you here as well to discuss West Ham's 3-1 win over Viborg, whatever. You say potato, I say potato. Doesn't really matter. Let's call the whole thing
off. Call the whole thing off.
Exactly. So,
right.
Europa Conference League playoff. Yeah, let's end the broadcast there. No. Yeah. So we won 3-1. The tie's halfway through. As the guest, Jake, what were your thoughts on what you witnessed last night?
Yeah, it was just a bit like a pre-season, jog around really, wasn't it? Yeah, it was all right. We got the job done. It wasn't entirely convincing at times. I thought we were a bit slow and laboured and lethargic, but we had the better quality in the final third. We scored 3, they scored 1. A little bit disappointing that we did concede in the end, but yeah, hopefully we can protect that lead over in Denmark. And it is what it is. We've won. Fair play to Viborg because I heard a couple of their fans say that's probably one of their biggest games in their history. So fair play to them. They are still in it. An early goal for them over in Denmark. And they could be in it. But yeah. We won, and that's it. Skamaka scored, which is good.
Yeah,
happy days,
Very heartened to see that, and Maxwell Cornay's performance. But we'll get into that a little bit down the track. How about yourself, Duke? What was your?
I'm just seeing my white arms under my sleeves. Look what is going. Look at the state of that. Like seriously, let me cover that back up. No, to be honest with you, mate, I completely agree with what Jake says there about the pre-season run around. It really did have that feel. I mean, again, we discussed, Rob, in the preview, and Jake did the same. What we let them have the ball like they were a Premier League side, and by that I mean a top 7-8 Premier League side. We let them. You go do. You have your little kickabout. We're just going to sit here and watch, knock ourselves out. Like we were confident that every single break we were going to have was going to be a goal. And it really, I give Lanzini's during the first half. He did put a lot of pressure. He did run around a lot. About all he did. But there was just I don't care. They had a hell of a lot of the ball for a team that, in theory, should have, without being disrespectful, and I know what Kent is saying there, they're a little bit tidy as a football team. We still have, none of their players would even get probably up against our under 20 under 23 squad. Do you see what I mean? So it's just really frustrating that we just let them knock the ball around while we just kind of walked around going, go on in, do your bit. Because it really shouldn't have been the case.
Just to sort of touch on Cyber's point, I saw something that said that there was 30,000 there, and I don't even think there was that much, if I'm being honest. Because they count people that buy tickets, don't they?
Yeah.
And don't turn up in part of the official attendance. And I saw this morning they announced 30,000 and something. So there definitely wasn't 40,000 there, Cyber. I'm telling you that now. And I don't think there was even 30,000 there, quite frankly. It was quite
30,230 apparently.
There you go. So that was the official attendance, and as I say, they include people that bought tickets and never even walked through the door, because once the club have got the money, they like, well, it doesn't really matter whether they turned up or not. Doesn't help the atmosphere, mind.
No.
To be fair, it was a lot fuller than I thought it was going to be. Bobby Moore Lower looked pretty full, which did surprise me. I didn't think there was going to be that many there, to be honest with you, especially with the strikes and everything else. But yeah, it was all right at the end of the day, wasn't it? It sounded all right, just like a normal game against Newcastle at home at the London Stadium.
I think it has to be recognised that a lot of the atmosphere that probably Cyber was talking about actually came from the away fans. I thought they were brilliant. They
were very vocal, and I heard that. Obviously, so for those of you who don't know, I was in Deal for 4 days, and I actually took my monitor, my laptop, a soundbar, a shit ton of extension leads, and and a HDMI cable, so I could actually have the game on the BT app in the south of France. Well, streaming from the north of France, because you could see Calais from where we were. And we watched it, and they were very vocal. I could hear them more than I could hear us at times.
Yeah. There's the starting lineup. Jake, I'll bring it to you first. And when you saw that 11 announced, an hour and a half before kickoff, because the UEFA games, they announce them a little bit earlier than Premier League games. What was your thoughts when you saw Ogbonna returning with the captain's armband, when you saw Kufau deployed at left back, Coventry getting a go alongside Soucek? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I was relatively happy with the lineup I saw. A few people said, well, is Ashby going to go to the left and Kufau right? And I thought that was the way we would set up. And that's the way we did at the end of the day. I was a little bit disappointed to see Soucek there over Flynn Downs, but we did hear he had a bit of a knock. He came on towards the end. I was excited to see him actually. Coventry, he did okay. I was excited to see him. Ogbonna back is massive. I think 65 minutes was enough for him. He was okay. I don't think putting him into a Premier League game in the state that he was in on Thursday night was the wisest decision in the world, because I don't think he was completely up to scratch. But to be fair, that's to be expected after having a year and whatever out from a horrible ACL injury. So yeah, good for players like Ashby as well. I didn't think he did too bad. And of course, I was excited to see the Cornay and Skamaka link up, and he didn't let me down.
Yeah, fair. Duke, your thoughts?
Well, I was sitting here when you said about Ogbonna doing this a little bit strongly, because I'd like to point out that about 36 hours ago, I actually said that I thought he was going to start, or I thought he was going to play some part in the game, and wouldn't be surprised if he started, and lo and behold, there he was. I was absolutely. I'll be honest. I was surprised to see Kufau out there. I think he did an admirable job out of position. Another one, and I thought that Ashby played really well. Actually, got up and down that flank, supported Bowen a lot. Actually, replaced Bowen at times when Bowen went wandering. Bowen turned into Mikel Antonio at one point yesterday. Started playing centre forward for some godforsaken reason. And I've just seen what Robert put there about Coventry. I actually thought Coventry had a very tidy game. I actually thought he made some good passes. There was a lot of harry in the middle of the park. I actually thought he did really well, and I'm really pleased for him, to be honest with you. I'm kind of glad that Downs kind of without being disrespectful to Downs, I'm kind of glad that Downs had that little bit of an injury that didn't allow him to be able to start the game, and only allowed him to, come on as a sub. I'm glad that it gave Coventry his chance in a relatively important game. Let's not mess around. It's still an important game in our season. And I actually think he did really well, and I'm really pleased to see him in the starting lineup for Joe.
Yeah. I was very surprised to see Bonner there. I've got to be honest. I know you said that you thought there was a chance, but I thought, don't know, because I don't think he's really. He was involved in pre-season, and then he just seemed to drop out of the picture completely. And I was sort of thinking, well, what the hell's going on there? And then all of a sudden, bang! He's in the starting lineup, no mucking around, and with the captain's armband.
And as captain,
that was
with
a
the
big
captain's
move
armband to boot. I was a little bit concerned, I've got to be honest, by Vladimir Kufau at left back. He's obviously a right back by trade. And the obvious thing I did see unfold during the match, where the ball sort of like coming to him on his left, and he's checking inside every single time. He's got no left foot. He's got no left foot at all.
One-on-one with the keeper, he still decides to pass.
Yeah.
So head to the 6-yard box. Let me still square it. I ain't shooting. That man is never going to put a goal in a claret and blue shirt. I'm telling you that.
As well.
He's a modern bots.
Listen, leave Potsy alone. He will get to a one-on-one with the keeper and pass it back to Ariola before he even has a shot. I'm sorry, but that's just where I'm at with that man. I love him, and I'm willing him to score, but I just... the bloke gets, he shits himself when he gets to that point. He ain't got a clue what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, Miss Hammer, it says there about Cornay and Skamaka got to start against Brighton. I got a funny feeling if David Moyes' press conference is anything to go by, I think you might be disappointed as far as Skamaka's concerned. That's just how I'm interpreting it.
What did he say?
It was something along the lines of he's got to take his time and sort of bed him in. Some words to that effect. And I just, whatever it was, as soon as I saw the quote, I went, that's him on the bench on Sunday then, isn't it?
Well, I saw something. I read something somewhere online. I think it might have been Bose that said it.
Yep.
And he made a point of, in the opening couple of minutes of the game, Kufau absolutely clattered a pass into him, and it bounced off him like, Jake, cover your ears. He had a touch of Gary Glitter, and it went flying. Right, this ball went absolutely it ricocheted off him, but it opened his eyes, I think, and at that point, he realised what was going to be expected of him and how some of these passes were going to come, especially from the defenders if there was space to play that ball in, and it was going to come at speed. And I have to say, I actually again, he did admirably. He had he combined well with Cornay, and he had the really good the shot that Cornay then kind of wastefully put over or was offside, wasn't it? But didn't make a decent connection to it.
Yeah,
keeper got good hands to it. Would I be wrong in your boy's eyes to say I felt that was all we got out of him in that game? I was a little bit disappointed with Skamaka in general yesterday. Would that be harsh on me, or do you boys feel the same? Anyone in the chat as well?
I spoke to Kieran earlier on, and we kind of agreed on something that was, I thought he was sloppy in possession overall. I thought he did give the ball away quite a few times. But then again, if you look at it at the other side of the fence, what's a striker there to do? Score, and that's what he did at the end of the day. There is room for improvement there. I think it's a good start. We're going to have the whole adapting to the league and all of this kind of stuff. But he's off the mark now, which is the key thing. In a West Ham shirt, he's scored. He's got that first goal worry out of the way. He's not got pressure, or he hasn't scored yet. I think a bit of pressure will be released out of him now, in my opinion. And I think he gets. I do think he gets better as time goes on, because we've seen a starting point, and I'm impressed. But yeah, last night I didn't think even him thought he reached anywhere near his potential. But a good header and a good goal, and that's all you asked for in a striker, ready to score, and that's what he did.
He bullied the defenders for the goal, Jake. Would you agree? He was, and Rob, I think. But again, am I being harsh? Not yet, Richard Jansen. Am I being harsh on Cornay now as well, to say that I was actually very disappointed with Cornay in
Just
point?
go through the whole squad.
No, just because I know Rob mentioned obviously the link-up play between, and you mentioned the link-up play between the two of them. I was actually quite disappointed in Cornay, other than the cross, and that was it. I was just, unless it was me who was just expecting so much more from the two of them against what I'd consider to be an inadequate team for the players that we had out there. Was it just me expecting too much from the pair of them?
I didn't think Cornay was fantastic. I agree. The kind of cut back dummy and then cut back again to cross the ball in, I thought was very good. But apart from that, from Cornay, yeah, there wasn't much. There's a couple of bursts of pace, but again, I think he gets better as time goes on. I wouldn't read too much into this, is what I'd say.
No, I'm going to disagree with both of you. I'm going to on both the point about Scamacca and Cornay. I thought they both played well. I'm not going to say that they were world beaters. I accept the point that Rob makes in the chat about his first touch was a bit off, but I come back to the point that you made, Jake. He's a number 9. He's there to score goals, and he scored one goal, and he had another one that, but for a fantastic save from the goalkeeper, would have made it a brace. He gave their back line an awful lot to contend with. Cornay as well, I thought he stretched to play well. The one criticism I will give him is he was caught offside an awful lot.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
I actually thought the front four were exactly that, Rob. I thought all of the front four were caught offside. I think my concern with Bowen and Cornay was the fact that, as the commentators alluded to quite often during the first half, just how narrow Viborg played. And they did play incredibly narrow. But we didn't exploit that with Stufau and Ashby, Bowen and Cornay. The overlaps and everything else really taking these players wide. Because I just didn't see it. I just didn't see it. They were quite happy to have the ball. But when we broke, we didn't use the width and the pace as often as we should have done.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Well, that's the for completeness. That is the Viborg 11, which, but for one player, I got 10 out of 11. Considering I've never seen this team play and I knew nothing about them, I think I did all right. I think I did my research and I got it pretty much spot on. The only one that was the guy on the right, which would have been the guy, because there was the two guys that they had didn't get their paperwork, wasn't it? Which would have been Saeed, and that was the one where I was a little bit unsure, and I went for the guy Nils Moreno. No, Nils Mortimer.
Yeah, you went with
that was the guy.
The Barcelona fella,
guy.
Who, if I may, looked a bit fucking tasty when he came on. I was actually really impressed.
I said, didn't I? I think he's the one that we're going to have to watch out for, and he started from the bench. And when Viborg, whatever, scored their goal, and I got to tell you, and I don't know, I've only ever met him very, very briefly once. I don't know the guy. I know Russ Budden knows Martin Godliman fairly well. I don't know if you know him or if you've crossed paths with him, Jake.
Russ knows everyone.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's a lovely guy, and I'm sure he'll probably kick himself for this. But two things. Number one, when he was announcing the lineups, he forgot to announce Gianluca Scamacca. He completely forgot him, because what he did is he was, number 13, Alphonse Areola, number 5, Vladimir Kuf, number 2, Ben Johnson, number 5, Vladimir Kufau, And then, and we saw it up on the screen. The players, obviously, as he's announcing it, are coming up, and the graphics and all that. And then he's gone number 10, Manuel Lanzini, but the graphics come up with Gianluca Scamacca, and I could almost, what you're doing there, Jake, I could almost feel probably down there. He went. Sort of thing, and he just sort of like went, oh well, I've missed him out now, so it is what it is. I'm just going to have to carry on.
Well, to be fair, at least he did it in front of 30,000 and not 60,000.
Yeah, exactly. But the point I was going to make was he then compounded the error, because he announced in the stadium that the guy that scored the goal was the guy that I referenced, Moreno, Mortimer Moreno. So I thought he'd scored. I was like, there you go. Happy days. I said he'd be the one to watch out for. And all right, he didn't score, but he pulled a fantastic save out of Areola, didn't he?
Mm.
No.
Oh, Duke, come on.
No. Much the same. Who was it?
Oh.
Who was the one that had the shot for us in the second half?
Ashby shot.
Okay, yeah. So Ashby and Moreno, whatever his name was, the goalkeepers were one for the camera, Rob. Behave, your bloody... Thank you, Ken! Behave! Shut up, your noise hole. All for the camera, both of them. Both of them for camera.
If you hadn't played the save, you'd have been having a pop at him.
Listen,
I'll tell you what.
Right. He could have just gone, right, and saved it. Let me do that again for you, with sound effects. That's all he had to do, and he saves it. Instead, what Alphonse does is go, "Hooray!" and throws himself
Somebody needs to clip that.
I think what he did was he tried to do an impression. He tried to do an impression of the nanny celebration, the old whoop, and that's what he tried to do. He tried to throw himself up, save it, flip over and land on his feet, the old moon kick. Listen, it was a camera save, Rob. He only had to go whoop, like that. That's all he had to do.
To be fair, I respect you two having an argument where Duke's audio sounds like he's in the middle of Mars or somewhere. It just carries on for a bit.
It does. I'm in a very echoey room, Jake. Very echoey room.
Bloody hell. You could at least warn me when you're going to do that, couldn't you? Was there any of their... So we've obviously referenced the
poor
guy who came off the bench. Was there anybody else who was impressed with, boys?
No, I didn't really take much notice, to be honest.
No.
Like Jake said, it had the feel very much of a pre-season friendly. I sat with my mum, my dad, my brother, my brothers. Like, we were all watching it, and then the next thing I know, behind me, they're all having their own separate conversations. The only one that ended up watching it with me was my dad, because even my brother said it had the feel of a pre-season friendly to it. It was just a very, like I said at the start, you have the ball, you have the ball, and you go do. We'll take it off you in a minute, and we'll try and do something with it. And it was quite frustrating, to say the least.
Yeah.
7 offsides.
Yes.
Yeah.
I bet 6 of them were Cornay. Yeah.
They had more
possession, but not by much. 51-49. They had the possession advantage.
Most of that came in the first 25 minutes of the first half, though, Rob. When we
let's be honest as well.
16 times.
But let's be honest, there's only 7 passes in it, so I won't really take much notice of it. It was pretty even. There was 7 completed passes in it.
Yeah.
But the point there is, Jake, they're a Danish. They're 5th in the Danish league, which is so far by the Moobag.
Good girl.
Moobag. See, am I allowed to announce her name to the world? Because Happy doesn't like me announcing her name to the world. Does Miss Hammer it like? I'll tell you what, if she bees mean to me, her name might be announced to the world as well. No, but you say that, Jake, as I say, 7 passes more than us, 2%
She's
more.
Actually done it as well. She's actually put it on Twitter.
Good girl.
That's brilliant. Sure, you bring it up on screen?
I'll tell you what. I'll get on that. You carry on talking amongst yourselves.
As I was saying, you know, we're talking a Danish side and in a league that has such few affiliation points with. Damn it, she's not upsetting with me using her name. They're so low on the affiliation ladder that they've had to play two more like playoff rounds.
Was it 2 or 3?
No, well, they said that they played 4 other games.
4 games, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, 2 legs, isn't it? So, you know, they're so far down the affiliation ladder with regards to, you know, points within UEFA and FIFA. They're not even considered, I don't like it, Rob, when you do that. They're not even considered, Jake, a decent kind of league to be concerned about. So the fact that I'm really going to hate this, isn't I?
Yeah, she's done it.
Big up the retweet as well. Who's retweeted her? Dad has. Dad's retweeted it and all.
Good lad. Is that your Richard?
That could go viral. You could get famous.
I don't care. Anyway, as I was saying, they're without being disrespectful, it sounds really bad. They're a real second-rate side in the grand scheme of things, and here we are conceding 2% possession and 2% and 7 passes. That really shouldn't be, in my opinion, the fucking case. Like here's Robert. Literally,
good lad, Rob. Good lad. Look, the old milk bottle arm.
So yeah, we shouldn't be conceding 7 passes to them and 2%. We should be, like Rob said in his, you know, at and whistle for whistle. We shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be that they've had 1 more shot than us. All right, it was off target, and we've had 7 and scored 3. We should be doubling the amount of shots we're having in a game and what we're getting on target. They should only be completing 250 to 300 passes to our 700, in my opinion. I don't know whether you guys feel the same, but I just feel that for a second-rate division, if you will, that they'd probably struggle to get out of our League One, if you will. And I know what people say, we saw us against Kidderminster, rather, but we should be putting these to bed early. And we're now going to Denmark, in not as overly a comfortable position as if we hadn't have conceded that 1 goal.
The tie's
not over, is it, Jake?
No, it's not. And you know, the bottom line is that they haven't even got a badge on Google, so they can't be that good, can they? So no. In all seriousness, it's not over. And as I said earlier, an early goal for them, and all of a sudden we're away from home, probably not with the best side out, you'd think, and Declan Rice is suspended and whatever else and so forth, and
Cressey's back though, isn't he? He only got 1 match, didn't he, Cresswell?
Mm-hmm.
Was it one match? Was that? I don't know.
I'm fairly sure it was 1. What about Moyes? Is he back? I can't remember.
I think he is. I think it was only the 1 game.
Okay.
I need to have a conversation with you, Robert.
Oh.
We might need to go back half hour.
Why?
For 8 o'clock.
What do you mean?
On Thursday. Next week, Thursday.
I've already sent a message out. I'm waiting for the white smoke to come out of the Vatican. So
it's only when they said something last night, and they went, "Yes, West Ham will the return leg's on the 25th," and I was like,
"Yeah, I tweaked that." Jesus, could you please let us know when you're gonna sort of like do that sort of squealing?
Go on, do it again.
Sound like I'm having.
I'm just going to get rid of him. Hey! Yeah, you bloody look at him, chuffing Willie there. Look at him. Look at him. Jeez. Right. Okay. Enough of this tomfoolery.
He's on the Budweiser, I know.
Right. Okay.
Is that better than the Fosters I had earlier?
Yeah, possibly.
We've got to get a player ratings done, chaps.
Oh, hello.
Okay, so
I
Was
tell
that
you
Jake?
what,
We've got balls.
I tell you what, since the last time I come on here, this has like improved massively. Like, we've got graphics, we've got things coming on the screen. It's like,
I'm not quite sure how to take that. So are you saying that we're good now, but we were crap previously?
No, I'm saying what's already good has gone to the next level.
Ah! Oh, that's all right then. You can come again.
Yeah.
You've dug yourself out of a hole, Jake, that I was agreeing with anyway.
Well, I'll tell you what, because Duke, I'm sure you won't mind. Well, you can both give your player ratings, but I'll let Jake have the hero or zero. Is that okay?
Ooh.
That's fine by me.
Okay, Jake. Well, basically, and to be fair, if you've been watching us, Jake, over the last couple of matches, you'll know the format. So I'm sure I don't need to explain it to you. Right, okay.
I know everything. Yeah.
Basically, you've got the Superman sign, so that is your hero, your man of the match. Real simple. Your
Greg
zero,
Dawson.
which is the Z.
Oh, we weren't playing.
He's not there. The zero is the player that you think was the worst player in Claret and Blue. Alice Clark?
That's a bit harsh. Oh, okay.
No. Listen. Life is harsh. It's just the way it is. So, hello. And any of you guys that want to get involved in the live chat, giving your marks out of 10, 5. That's a bit harsh. Bloody hell. Dear, oh dear. Right. Okay. Jake, talk to me about the man between the sticks.
Yeah. Do you want explanation rating like you normally do?
Yes,
I'm fully
absolutely.
Aware. Okay.
Absolutely.
Like we normally do.
Lay
like
it
you
on.
know.
Lay it on.
He conceded a goal, which is a bit unfortunate. He couldn't have done a great deal about it, in my opinion. His distribution wasn't fantastic at times, but it done the job. A couple of good saves, a superb save from that geezer who, he went like that, and it was a superb save, wasn't it, Duke? Very
The camera
good.
save. Well, there was a one-on-one. I remember he came out and smothered the ball. There was another one in the second half where he comes
headed
out
it as well in the first half.
Yeah. There was a few sort of like moments where he sort of like he took care of business, as they say. So what's your mark out of 10?
I'm going 6.
6. Duke?
I'm going to agree. I thought he did okay. The save that you were talking about there, the one where he comes out, I think it was on Bonner in a foot race with a striker who looked a lot like Martin Braithwaite, actually. He raced back and it just wasn't. I don't know whether it was because Bonner's still struggling for match fitness or whatever, but he came out and he kind of, as Ken says, I don't think he sat on the ball, but he kind of rolled as he came out with one leg kind of bent and the ball kind of rolled under. He rolled over the ball and it got stuck, and he did get a bit lucky, but again he made himself big. I'm going to give him a 6. It was a good save.
6 out of 10. The left back for the night, who's not really a left back, but he was deployed there, Mr. Kufau. Talk to me, Jake.
Yeah, well, he wasn't fantastic. He wasn't outstandingly poor, was he? He was okay. He did the job all right. I'm gonna take 6 as the average, not 5, because 5 seems a little bit too low. So I'm gonna go 6. He didn't really do much to affect the game, and he defended okay. No blinding errors that came out of me straight away when you said his name. So he didn't really make himself notice, but sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. 6 for me.
Over to you, Duke.
It would have been a 5 if he played on his natural side. But I am going to give him a 6, like Jake, just because again he was out of position. He did slow some bits down, obviously, because of checking on that on the right foot. It's not natural, but then we can't blame him too much when Johnson does the same thing when he's out there. So, again, as Jake said, no glaring errors. There was the slowing down of play, if you will. But no, I'll give him a 6. It was would have been a 5 anywhere else. In his natural position, but because he's out of position, I give him the extra point.
Benefit of the doubt. Okay, so moving over to the other flank, Harrison Ashby. Jake, what were your thoughts on the young fullback?
I'm a big fan of Harrison Ashby, and
Likewise.
that wasn't his best performance, but I think he did himself justice last night. He was good. I would say. I am fully aware that you guys do 0.5s on this show, don't you?
No.
Oh Christ. Yeah, because I watch it. I watch it religiously every week. You know.
Looks like it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I got all the tricks of the trade. But in terms of Harrison Ashby, I'd like to give him 6.5, but I'm not being allowed, so I'm gonna give him a 6.
Okay. Duke?
Going up, I'm going 7. I
didn't quite have the balls to give him a 7, to be fair, but well done.
I actually rate Harrison Ashby.
Yeah.
I like his. I think he's got a lot of talent at right back. I think he really is coming into his own. You know, there's no fear when the lad plays. I pointed out in the preview about his spat with Højbjerg in the cup quarter final last year when Højbjerg got up in his face and he just kind of stood there and the look on his face was kind of like, "Who the fucking hell are you? Shut up, piss off, go away." And I like that about him. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He was up and down that flank a lot, and to quote to quote Stephen Bowen on Facebook today. He needs to spend time on a training field showing the rest of the players how to take a throw on properly.
Yeah.
With regards to the pace, the placement, the weight of a pass. The guy was. I really think that Mr. Stoufal needs to be looking over his shoulder a lot this season. With regards to that place, even though Fredericks is now gone. And he's got Johnson there as a concern. I think Ashby might just be taking over Johnson on that right side.
Ooh.
Well, you'll have noticed, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not giving my player ratings because I want to give the time to Jake. He's coming as a guest. But I am before we go on, I am going to, a little spoiler I'm going to give. I would actually, for the Brighton game, put Harrison Ashby at right back.
Yep.
I'd stick him there. Because I've not been impressed. I know, obviously, Ben Johnson's not been playing at right back, so maybe I'm unfair to judge him like that. But if we've got a selection of centre backs that we can deploy, which means that Johnson doesn't have to play as a centre back against Brighton, and we've got a choice between Kufal, Johnson, and Ashby on the basis of last night, and the fact that the other two, I don't think have looked all that so far this season, I'd put Ashby in there. Might be a controversial decision, but I'm just of the opinion that every time I've watched a guy play, I've actually been quite impressed with him. And last night, in my opinion, and I was watching from up high, and Duke, you know where I sit, you know I can watch everything as it unfolds. Whereas when you're a bit lower down, maybe you don't quite see all the bits and bobs. I thought he was the man of the match last night. That's my opinion. So, other people can disagree and might say I'm mad. I thought he was the best player on the park in a claret and blue shirt. And I'd start him on Sunday. But anyway, moving on.
Just 2 seconds. After, of course, watching this week in, week out, we do give our zero and superhero at the end, don't we?
No, you give it as you go along. But
no, you've changed that this week. You have.
We've changed it just to wind you up.
Yeah, you have. Very good.
Okay, so on his return with the captain's armband, Angelo Ogbonna, 9 months out injured. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, fair play to him. Really good for the 65 minutes he was on. He didn't do anything more than I expected. He was a little bit off the pace. I thought a couple of run backs. He did look a bit slow, but to be fair, that's to be expected. ACL is a horrible injury to come back from. And if he's going to get back to anywhere near what he was, then I think we can get another good season out of him. Whether he plays as frequently as he did before his injury, I don't know. And his post-match interview as well, I thought was very good, very down to earth, very just happy to be back. So yeah, and with that in mind, nobody else really stood out to me. So just for the sake of it, no. not just for the sake of it, because he was very good. I thought, let's give the superhero to Angelo Ogbonna.
You're going to give him your hero? Oh, for goodness sake, hang on.
You got to right click and bring forward.
Yeah, I
well
know.
done. Yeah.
There you go. You can't get the staff.
He obviously watches that show enough that he knows that you do that every week.
Exactly. and not at all that I use Canva pretty much every day.
So he's your hero. What mark did you give him, Jake?
I'm gonna give him a solid high 7.
A 7+. That will do.
Yes.
7+. Luke?
Agreed. I'd actually give him a 7, a high 7 as well. It could be bordering, it could be considered bordering on 8. I actually thought he played really well, considering there was a couple of occasions when I was concerned that he would be holding himself back in some challenges, because let's be honest, as Jake said, it's a horrible injury to come back from. I have personal experience of coming back from this injury in some past, that it's one of those ones that make you question yourself when it comes to challenges. It's not a pleasant injury once you're back fully fit on the mental side of you. It's a struggle to get through mentally when you have the injury. I'd actually say it's just as difficult after the injury, in my opinion. Obviously, like I say, went through it a good number of years ago now. It's the mental side of it's actually harder once you're fit to be able to throw yourself into challenges like you used to, because you're always worrying that just one more of those, that's it. You know, it's over. So I'd give him props. There were a couple of occasions where I thought he was going to pull out some challenges, or didn't look like he wanted to go in for a challenge. There was one where he clattered the geezer from behind. I was like, okay, you've been out for 9 months, mate. You've forgotten how to kick the ball. Don't kick the player. But I actually, as Ken says, his defensive brain got him through. I think his positioning was really good at points. I think he got caught out maybe once or twice. One of them was obviously when Ariola had to come out and make that blocking save. But overall, I actually think he performed really, really well.
Fair.
I agree.
Fair. So, Jake, his defensive partner, Ben Johnson.
Yeah, but I do feel for the lad, because that's not his natural position. He does play against City, Forest, and again Viborg. A couple of times I did think he was caught out of position. It's not his fault. I don't blame him. And to be fair, he's for a young lad coming in. What is he? 21. Ben Johnson. He's been chucked around everywhere, whether it's left back, right back, centre back. Fair play to him. You know, he hasn't looked his best in the last few weeks playing there, but he has done his best. I would rate him a low 6, is what I'm going to give him.
Low 6. Luke?
Have you read my playbook, Jake? Like, seriously?
No.
It's a 6 for me. You know, there were a couple of times when Ashby went marauding and we lost possession and they broke quite quickly. Johnson kind of naturally gravitated out right into the right pack position before Bowen or Ashby could get back to cover that position, and he just kind of flipped out onto the right hand side. Now, that's no straightforward fault of his own. That's just his natural positioning and brain going, well, that's where I'm meant to be, kind of thing. So I'm not gonna pin that on him. What I will say is, you know, going forward, the guy has the makings of a half decent centre back. I think he's won some really good headers from corners and some from defensive positioning. He's won some really good headers and broke up play. So I think with a little bit of work on the training field, we could have a player there that can play anywhere along the back line. And can really assert himself. Either that, or he's just going to be a bit part player across 4 positions. It really is now down to him to nail that down. He has the ability, He has from what I understand, he has the enthusiasm in training to want to be better than he currently is. It's now up to him to really go and show that. But I'll give him a 6 like Jacob.
One thing that wound me up in the first half, yes, it was the first half. He played a cross-field ball, and his range of passing is pretty good. But he never looked. He didn't. There was no one there. There was no one making a run into the space, and it went out for a throw-in. And I'm watching, and I'm going, "Oh, for God's sake!" And it's things like that. That's the reason why I think there's still some people that when you say Ben Johnson, for them the jury's still out on him in some respects, and it's like, is he really a first-team player or isn't he? So.
Yeah. At times he has performances where he's on the flanks, and I think you just haven't got the almost capabilities to go forward and be that attacking fullback that we need to bomb down those wings and to get good balls into the box. Because I don't think when he gets to that line, I don't think his crossing and kind of attacking ability is the best that it can be, and I'm sure that they'll be working on that because they listen to everything I say, the West Ham backroom staff. So there's so much room to grow in his career. What is he, only 21, and to be even thinking about slating him because he's in the first team week in, week out, and he will continue to improve as a player.
I think for this is just my opinion. I think if he has aspirations of playing for England, I think that he is probably best off playing at left back. Because if you look at the English right backs, we're pretty well stocked at right back. You've got Trent, you've got Trippier, you've got Walker, there's lots of players that can operate at right back and operate at a good level that are English. Some of them may be older than Ben Johnson, like Trippier and Walker. So you look and go, well, with them, Ben Johnson has got time on his side, but there's still an awful lot of right backs that he's up against. I think if he switches and concentrates on becoming a dedicated left back, name me too many English left backs that are of a decent quality. And it's a lot thinner on the ground. So I think for me, if he wants to have an England shirt, become an England, whether he nails down a regular starting player for whoever's the England manager when he makes the breakthrough, if he makes the breakthrough, I just think that he would be better off shifting over to left back. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly what Kent says there, jack of all trades, but he's got to make a decision.
Yeah, yes, yeah. And to be fair, with what Kent said there, in about as time will go on, we will see what kind of position he does become, because at the moment he is being chucked out on the left, back out to the right, centre half. But to be fair, if we would have had the centre backs in, he would never have played centre half. So I think he is just the man that David Moyes goes to and goes, oh yeah, we'll just chuck you there, Ben, and hopefully that will change when we get better squad depth and he either chooses left back or right back and then tries to aim as high as he possibly can and just keep growing and keep becoming a better footballer, because he's got a good 10 years left on his side, hasn't he? So there's plenty of time.
Yeah. Sorry, Duke, did you give a mark for Johnson before you had to scoot?
You probably agreed with me as well.
6. Yes, it was a 6.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Great minds think alike.
Cool.
Do
right. We move into midfield. Conor Coventry was for some people a surprise pick. What did you think, Jake, of his performance on the night?
I think he's almost split the fan base a little bit as well, because there are some people saying, yeah, I thought he did okay, a couple of good passes, a little bit negative, I suppose you could say. And there are others that said he was bullied off the ball a bit. And I don't think it helps the man that was alongside him in midfield, which in recent times has been, I don't like to use the word useless, but he's near to the extent. But below par is probably a better way of saying it in terms of Souček. I would have liked to seen him alongside a Declan Rice, because I think he would have been more positive. Those two, I think, could have a good link up together. As a first full match for West Ham in the first team, I didn't think it went dreadfully bad. I thought he was okay, a little bit safe with the passes, but then again, I thought he solidly did the job, nice, neat and tidy. And with time, I think comes quality with Conor Coventry. I'm going to give him a medium 6, a normal 6 for me.
Fair. Duke, your thoughts?
I'm going to give him a low 7.
Okay.
Now, I agree with everything Jake said. He was safe. He was. There was a couple of times he was knocked off the ball. I don't think he was ready for the physicality of some of their bigger lumps, shall we say. What I will say is, I'd rather him play safe with his passes than I would a Ben Johnson crossfield ball to Gary in row A of the North Stand. I'd rather him play it safe and keep the ball and keep possession in a game where it's a banana skin. I mean, they showed they can score a goal. I'd rather, safe back to the back four or sideways or out to Stu foul than giving it away and then us conceding. I think he had a solid game. I think, as Jake says, the quality will come with more game experience in Europe and in the top flight. I mean, but again, alongside Declan Rice could have been a different story for him.
Fair.
And are you punching the shit out of your keyboard?
Look in the private chat.
Oh,
hello.
Oh,
I'll talk to you afterwards.
Love the man.
Those of you that know Duke probably know who we're talking about when he says that. But we'll move on. We'll move on. Thomas Souček.
Hopefully in victory as well.
Yeah, you've just obviously referenced Thomas Souček, the partner in midfield of Coventry. I take it you weren't impressed with his performance.
It's frustrating with Thomas Souček because yes, he had a great season. I thought he wasn't fantastic last season, and he's come into the start of this season with his confidence at the complete rock bottom. We were both pretty close to that chance he had at Nottingham Forest Gatesy, and 2 seasons ago he would have put that into the back of the net.
Yeah,
I don't see what he's offering to the side at the moment, in my opinion. He's not offering, and I know we're early on into the season, but he's not offering those goals. He's looking a little bit sloppy in possession, and I do think that at times when Declan's there, Declan saves his skin and makes him look a little bit better than he is at times. I'm not going to go quite as low as Kent. I'm going to give him a low 5. But I don't know what you guys think, but I just don't see what he's currently offering to the side. And I'd like to see Flynn Down start on Sunday because he must, as a West Ham lad, give more than what Souček's currently offering to the team, in my opinion.
So just to clarify your point, you're saying you would bring Flynn Downs in at the expense of Thomas Souček, not bringing him in alongside him and Declan Rice and changing formation?
You're correct. I'd put him in over Thomas Souček alongside Declan Rice.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Duke, your thoughts?
Harsh. Very harsh from the young man above.
Ooh.
Very harsh. I accept his account of the situation, and I respect his opinion. What I will say is, I think Thomas yesterday, it's going to sound really harsh on Conor, considering I've just given him a relatively decent mark in the grand scheme of things. I think he had to babysit at points yesterday, and that was kind of at the detriment of his own game.
Yeah, I did wonder about that.
We know damn well the guy cannot. He isn't a defensive midfielder. Listen, we know that Big Tom, big potato salad munching bastard that he is an attacking midfielder to a degree from where he sits. He's a defensive midfielder, but he loves to attack. We know this. That's his. If you were to read a profile on someone, that's his profile. He loves to get forward. We know he arrives late in the box. He's one of them players. Yesterday, we had to see a little bit of babysitting going on. We had to see him not quite go into them marauding runs that we saw against Forest. We did see them. They were there. I just think, as Jake said, the confidence is knocked a little bit with regards to his goal scoring. I think things have been knocked with no disrespect. the likes of Jake, me, you know, the guys over at Hammers Chat, West Ham Network. I'm not saying the players watch these videos, but I am saying that they will hear bits and see things that are said. They will see the things that come up on Twitter. We know that there are some players that are more active on Twitter, and the Czech boys are quite active on social media, so they are going to come across these comments where their names are mentioned that you're playing shit, you're fucking awful, get out of my club. They're going to hear all of that. They are,
I'd
and
never
the boys
possibly
can't
say
confident.
that.
I didn't say you would, because you don't use that language, young man.
No, I do not.
No, exactly. Not when you're live on stream. Maybe when you're at the ground, it might be a different story.
No, don't drop me in it. Flipping out. Mum's watching downstairs.
Oh, sorry, Mum. He's terrible. I just think it's a bit harsh. I'm actually going to give him a low 6, high 5. I'm going to go 6 though, because I think he did a good enough job in keeping Conor Coventry safe yesterday, if you know what I mean.
That thought did enter my head. I've got to say, Duke, that how much of his performance was down to the fact that he was partnering someone that certainly in terms of European football, is a ranked novice. So how much would the coaching have said to Thomas, listen, you're going to have to sort of keep a little bit of a close eye on how Conor goes, sort of thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm sort of like clutching at straws with Thomas Souček, because he just comes across as such a good character, and I'm trying my hardest to try and give him the benefit of the doubt. But I have to be honest and say I am getting concerned, because whatever the reason is, whether it's, and we've opined about, is it the change in the dynamic of the role between Friis and Souček? Is it tiredness? Is it 6 of one, half dozen of the other? Is it some other factor that we've not yet discussed, that we are not aware of? The fact remains is that the Thomas Souček that we've got at the moment is a pale imitation of the one that 18 months, 2 years ago was getting 10 goals from midfield. But
I agree.
Yeah, it's true. And like I say, I think a lot of that has to do with the Declan Rice experiment, no, Rob.
Very probably. Let's move to the guy that was playing number 10. Now, this could be interesting. We might lose a friend over this. No, we won't. Jake, talk to me about Mr. Lanzini.
I've heard you two's thoughts on this before, and I'm going to put it straight out there and say, could you put that Z just in between Souček and Lanzini, please?
No, you have to make a decision.
I like it, Jake. I like it a lot.
No, you've got to.
I like it. As co-founder, I agree that you can do that, Jake. I like it a lot.
I've got control of the mouse. Get stuffed.
Okay, that's fine.
But you've got to give it to one or the other. You can't give it to both of them.
Don't make a decision then. I'm not used to this.
Oh, don't.
No.
That.
Manu.
Okay. Yeah, he wasn't great, and I could automatically see a difference. One thing I would say, I could automatically see a difference when Fornals came on at halftime. We were pressing more. We looked more energetic. You know, we got the Fornals that we all know. He was going up there. He was running his socks off, and I think he got a bit of go in us. In a way as well, he was getting us up a bit more and a bit more motivated than we perhaps were in the first half. So yeah, Lanzini not fantastic, and Ben Rama is very much hot on his heels, and Ben Rama is very much overtaking him currently after his first appearances of this season. He got another assist yesterday, and I think he could be well on his way, even though David Moyes doesn't like him, to overtaking Manuel Lanzini. We could be nearing the end, especially with the contract situation with Manuel Lanzini.
Well, there might be someone that's got the ump with you now, Jake, but he is the recipient of your Zero Award.
No, he's Duke's of the Zero Award.
You're pinning the blame on Duke, are you?
Yeah, I am.
I don't care if she comes to me.
Would you agree?
Would
you agree with Jake's assessment, or do you have a slightly different?
No, all day long, mate. I actually will go as far to say that I'd quite listen. If he wanted to buy his own contract out, if he wanted to leave tomorrow, I'd send him back to River Plate with a thank you for everything that you've done. but off you go, son. Like I tell you what, that's 3 games on the spin. Well, it has been 3 games on the spin now because he wasn't great when he came off the bench against Forest. He's been poor, very, very poor. I'm actually going to give him a 2.
Ooh, brutal.
I don't care. Listen, he's playing against the part. They are professional, but in the grand scheme of things, they're part timers. As I was mentioning, the affiliations and the points with regards to UEFA and with their competitions, and just how high the Premier League is compared to like the Danish league. The fact that they've had to play 2 other playoff rounds. This should be a stroll in the park for players like Manuel Lanzini, and he did not show up in the 45 minutes he was given. It was very, very poor.
We almost conceded a goal, didn't we, off of the back of a loose pass of his in the first half. He played a ball that was, well, in the general direction of Harrison Ashby, but it didn't reach him. And they broke. And I think it was that J. Roy Grott, I think, had a shot that just went past Areola's left-hand post. And if that had gone in, I'd have been like, oh, jeez. As it was, we get away with it. But he had an absolute stinker. I can't disagree, chaps, with regret. And I love Lanzini. Again, he's been with us for a long time, since 2015. That goal away at Spurs, the game at home, the first game against Spurs at London Stadium, where he got the only goal of the match. He's had moments in his career at West Ham where he's hit the heights, but they have been, if I'm being completely honest about it, they have been quite few and far between for a guy that's been there the length of time that he has. I know there was the injury, but he just seems to have, this last, I don't know, 4 months, just seems to have been somewhere between bang average and poor most of the time.
God, that's harsh.
No, he has.
He has, and that's the scary thing. I think someone needs to get hold of him, grab him by the scruff of the neck, and ask him what he wants, because I just don't think it's working right now with Manuel Lanzini, to the point that with Cornay in, he's now got another person vying for that 10 in Benny, although he'd lost Vlasic on that. He's gained Ben Rama now, and I just think Ben Rama's more naturally suited to being a 10 than he is a left winger. So, although yesterday, we'll come to that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, I do think as well that Ben Rama has probably overtaken Lanzini in the kind of pecking order of these things now after his performances. And Lanzini's been quiet and not up to scratch.
Fair. Jake, talk to me about Maxwell Cornay.
I think we're going to have differing opinions on this one. I thought he was good. I didn't think he did as good as he could have done. The bit of pace, I think, helps our side massively, in my opinion. Getting it and just running at times. We need to see more of that. We need to see more kind of the same thing we were saying about Ben Rama, getting the ball, no fear, and just running. If you lose the ball, you lose the ball. And that getting into that position, the cut back, and then the hesitation, the dummy, and then to put the ball into the box straight onto Skamaka's head for him to head it in. It was very, very good from him. I would admit that we needed to see more from him, in my opinion.
It's a good job you didn't call her Miss Camel Toe.
Yes, I've got my new name for her. Yes.
He's ecstatic. But Cornay, I'm going to give him a low 7.
A low 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is difficult. I don't like doing this.
Low 6, Robert.
Oh, hello.
High 5, low 6, but I'm going to give him the low 6. Hammer toe, you must have stood out for him to have written something about you on the chat. It's really nice to meet you, Miss Hammer toe.
No, but it wasn't Miss Hammerette. It looks like it might have been Happy.
Oh
dear.
Oh dear.
Happy Hammer Toe.
Happy Hammer Toe. Even better than Kerry. Even better than Kerry. No, I think, like, I'm frustrated with Cornay. I think he's got the ability to be amazing this season, to be absolutely outstanding. I saw one bit where I actually will say, it was very much like you know that scene, Jake. You probably haven't seen it, and if you have, don't let your mum know. Just give me a sly thumbs up at the bottom of the screen or something. It's that bit out of Borat. You know that bit in Borat where he goes, "This is my neighbor who's Sicilian. I get a nice house. He wants a nice house. I make window of glass. He get window of glass." That was what it was with Cornay and Benrahma. Did you see the 2 goals we scored? Okay, Cornay did check, 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 go, cross, header, goal. Benrahma went check, check, go, cross, Antonio, goal. It literally was like it was one after the other. Anything you can do, I'm going to do better. But that was it. That was all I saw from Cornay, and it really frustrated me. Then we'll come on to him in a minute. Bowen went off and Cornay went right, and I'm like, hello? No. Leave Cornay on the left. Let him do that. Bring Benrahma into the middle. Give him the 10 role. And then maybe put Antonio out on the right. Did you see what I mean? It didn't make sense to me. But I listen. I saw one thing from him that showed me he can be good. But against the team of Danish Vikings, I was very disappointed.
Fair. Okay, so we move over to the other wing. Jake.
Rob Wright with his keyboard.
Jared Bowen, Jake, talk to me.
He got his goal. He looked better than he had done in the opening 2 games of the season. I think he needed something to get him going, and I think he got that last night. I mean, that ball couldn't have really got any more in the corner if he placed it there, could it? It was bang into that corner, straight onto that bit of the net, and from outside of the box, it did give me flashbacks. I almost got that West Ham clips flashback to that goal against Chelsea, just the wrong corner, but we'll ignore that. Kind of where he took it from that side, shot from outside of the box, and he just powered it straight into the corner. But apart from the goal, I thought he did things here and there. He was caught offside a couple of times, which frustrates me. But apart from that, I think he did okay. He looks lively at times. I'm going to give him a 7.
Okay. Just before we move on to Duke, and I will also ask you the same question, but just give it to Jake first off before I move on to you, if I may. Does a better goalkeeper stop that, or am I being a little bit overcritical?
I think that's a little bit overcritical. It was hit hard and low and into the corner. If you save it, fair play. But I don't think many people would have many. I don't know. I would have been surprised if he saved it. It would have been a very good save, low and hard down into the corner.
Duke, am I being a bit harsh?
I actually think a better goalkeeper stops 2 of our goals out of the 3, Rob, to be honest with you. I think a better goalkeeper saves Bowen's shot because his positioning is going to be better and he's going to get down into that corner. And I think a better goalkeeper actually comes and punches the ball off of Skamaka's head for our for the first goal. So I actually think, a better goalkeeper does save both of those. That being said, I give Bowen a mid 7. I actually saw a hell of a lot more from him in 60 minutes, whatever it was that he played yesterday, than I saw in the first 2 games that he played of the season. There was a lot more running, there was a lot more chasing, there was a lot more movement into space, into really good positions. He wasn't necessarily found, but that's not his fault. What I will say is, after his goal, I said earlier, I don't know if players watch these shows and stuff. I do believe Bowen had watched ours because he gave it all of that, didn't he, after the goal? I think it was aimed at me for slagging him off after his first 2 performances. I think he's like, I think that's what he was going at. That's what he was giving. Sorry, Mum, I shouldn't be swearing in front of your little boy. I do apologise. But yeah, I saw more from him. I am still concerned that there is conversations behind the scenes about this man and transfers and stuff. And I will be very happy once the transfer window is closed and he is still a West Ham player.
I agree.
Fair. So the guy playing at number 9, Jake, Mr. Skamaka, got his debut, his first goal, his maiden goal, and hopefully it will be the first of many. What were your thoughts on his performance?
Yeah, I think we talked about him briefly earlier on, and we had kind of had a debate of, well, what's the striker's job, and his job is to be there, and it's to score goals, and he did score one. He got up, and he got up. It was a good header. It was into that corner. I don't think, if you're staying on your line, not many keepers are saving that. Yeah, if you're going to come out and punch it, it might be a different story. But if you're on your line, there's very little chance that you're going to get down and save that. It was a perfectly placed header, I thought, from a very good ball in. And I think the Cornay and Skamaka link up is going to be there quite often. I do think he's going to get good quality balls into the box, and I think he's going to score quite a lot of headed goals for West Ham this year. We saw him at Forest Gates. He's quite up close. He's a very big, a big unit there, and he's going to get his head on a lot of things. He's going to outmuscle quite a lot of centre backs this year, I think, at the whatever he is, 6'3". But saying that, he wasn't fantastic. He didn't really do too much else. He was slightly sloppy in possession, I thought, at times, but he did the job. He got a goal, a high 7.
Fair. Duke?
Mama Cox, can you come upstairs and take Jake's temperature, please? I think he's got a fever. If you can get one of them thermometers we used to have as kids, them ones, that'd be great. What I will say is I'm going to give him a 6. I'm going to give him a bang average 6. Yes, he scored the goal, but I didn't see much else from him, to be honest with you. Again, probably harsh. Same with Maxwell Cornay. I wanted to see that there was such the hype between these two players, and Jake, as you said, right, and rightly so, we will see more of these guys going forward as they get better. But I didn't want as they get better. I wanted better now. I wanted that already. Frustrating at times, as you say. His lack of keeping possession was frustrating. But that being said, I'd still like to see him start on Sunday against Brighton.
Fair. Okay, so we move on to the subs, and we're not going to mark Flynn Downs. I think it's unfair to mark Flynn Downs on what was essentially 6 minutes. So we're not going to mark him. But Jake, a half-time introduction for Mr. Fornals. I mean, you said it earlier. He did improve the pattern of the game in the second half. What would you give him a mark out of 10 in your general assessment?
I don't know what to give him out of 10, to be honest. It's quite a difficult one because, rightly so from what you said and what I said earlier, he came on and he gave us a bit more energy. He probably gave us the kick up the backside that we probably needed to get going a bit more. Yes, it wasn't massive, but you could tell a difference that we played better in the second half, and that was, I think, because of Pablo Fornals in there. He did a normal Pablo Fornals performance. I'm loitering in between a 7 and quite possibly a 7.9, pushing a little bit further. I'm not quite sure. Between a 7 and an 8, and I hate being on the fence. I'm gonna go an extremely high 7, but not quite an 8.
Does he not lose any marks for his repetitive and very below average corners?
Oh, they were awful, weren't they?
They were absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They were right in front of me, and I'm watching them. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's a very good point. One of them, I've just sat there in the short corners as well. Why are we playing short corners, for goodness sake? It goes to Ben Rama. He can't put it in, so we go all the way back to the centre backs. Like, I think
he played the short corner after he'd done about 3 or 4 proper corners, and none of them worked.
How a professional footballer who gets paid thousands of pounds a week cannot put a good corner into the box.
Terrible. Duke?
Said exactly the same thing to my brother and anyone else pretty much that listens about the corners. It frustrates the shit out of me every single time. And obviously, it's not just him. There's a lot of players in the Premier League that are just awful. Free kicks and corners from free kicks from the wings and corners like that. It's just so painful to watch. That being said, his energy was much required in the second half after obviously Lanzini he harassed. He wanted to make things happen, which was really nice to see, considering after the first 2 games of the season we hadn't seen much of that. I'm going to give him a 7, flat bang.
Okay.
Middle 7.
You can see he's got a ball in front of him there, Jake. Mr. Antonio obviously scored a goal, which was created for him by one of the other guys that came on as a substitute, who we're going to talk about not too far down the track. Mr. Antonio.
Yeah, he came on with a little bit of liveliness, and it was refreshing to see him coming off the bench, putting in a 30-minute shift, because we do not see that very often nowadays. And I'll say it, I think Scamacca will start the majority of games. Antonio will come on with perhaps 30, 35 minutes to go, 20 minutes, depending on the game and how things are going, if I'm honest. Antonio, he was there at the right time. He put the ball into the back of the net for that superb Ben Rama assist. And I'm going to give him a 7, slightly higher than average for the goal.
6. Just because, Jake, did you mark him for the goal?
Yeah, he scored, didn't he?
My grandma, both of which are no longer with us, could have put that away. It was easier to, honestly, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. That one, it was
place at the right time, Dookie boy.
Yeah, I get that, but again, it was just simple. It was the easiest of goals he will probably score this season. So right. I'm giving him a 6.
An average 7. I'll go slightly below average 7.
Oh, I'll go an above average 6.
Yes, we agree.
So Jake's gone 7- and Duke's gone 6+.
Yeah, we're not far apart.
Okay. Well, he came on as a substitute. I wasn't sure if he might start the game. Tilo Kehrer, German international, signed from PSG the day before. What did you think, Jake?
The initial feeling I got was that, and I know they're a very physical side, that he's not that tall, is he? 5'9", which could not help him in the Premier League. It won't do him any favours, let's say. Is he at fault for their goal? No, not really. He just jumped a bit higher than him, didn't he? And he didn't really do too much else. He was tidy. It's difficult because I'm in two minds whether he should have done better for that goal or not. I'm sure Duke could assist me on that in a minute, but I don't know. I'm gonna loiter between a 6 and a slightly higher 6. Let's go 6.
He's actually 6'1".
Is he?
Yeah, he's a little bit tall. I thought 5'9" for a centre back. I mean, Steve Potts, I know, was a little bit of an anomaly, but no, he's actually 6'1", which even so, I mean, when you've got some centre backs that are 6'4", 6'5", he's not quite on that sort of level. But he said in his interview, didn't he, on the official club?
Well, he's the same height as the other 4 there, look.
Well, there is that. That is true. But he did an interview, didn't he, for the club channel and with Raphael Honigstein, and he turned around and said, "Yeah, I'm not the tallest, but I've words to the effects of I've got a good jump, good spring sort of thing." And I was like, "Oh, fair enough." So yeah, no, I thought yes, I did think he was a little bit culpable for their goal. I got to be honest with you. There was a player. I'm trying to remember. There was a player that sort of like went into the back of him. I think it was Grot. And obviously, it was Jensen that scored their goal, and that I hold Kufau responsible for. But I do think that he was he had a part to play in it as well, if I'm being honest. But he did make a good recovery challenge late in the second half, as I recollect, where he showed a great deal of pace. But yeah, he looked decent. Duke, your thoughts?
I actually like the look of him. I'm not going to lie to you. I was actually quite excited when he came off the bench. He's, German international. Can actually play anywhere along the back line. He can actually play left and right back from what I've been told and from the bits I've been reading up about the guy. So I'm actually quite excited to see what happens once Zuma's fully fit, once we get Dawes and Naif Agad back. As to what happens with this lad. I think he's showed some real good promise. I think there was, yes, okay, could have done better with a goal. I've already said I thought a better goalkeeper saves their goal. I think a better defender. Let me rephrase that. A defender with more prep time does better. He's kind of thrown in, as Rob's going to turn around and say straight after I finish my conversation. Well, he is a professional and he should be doing better. I know that's what Rob's going to say because I can already feel it steaming from the top of his head. I actually thought he showed some real good promise. I'm really excited to see what actually happens with this guy as we go forward, as to seeing whether he dislodges Cresswell at left back, whether he actually moves Zuma or a Gerd into a kind of a second choice pairing. I think he's got some real good talent, and I think we could be looking at a real good golden buy, a cheap golden buy.
Okay, I'm mindful of the fact that Jake has got to disappear, Duke. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let Jake go to Ben Rama and then give a mark to David Moyes, because obviously he's got to shoot off fairly swiftly.
I've got to shoot off. I've got to go back to work as well. I've got a DJ tonight. I don't really fancy having. Listen, I don't fancy having the commentary of the Millwall game in. You know what I mean?
He's our guest. Sit down, shut up, as the song goes.
All right,
sorry. Jake, give me your thoughts on Said Ben Rama.
Came on and again made an impact, didn't he? He got his assist, and I think he's almost lost that fear factor as well, where, oh, am I going to lose it here? Because he got it and he ran, and that's what he's done. And that's what he did against Forest. That's what he did last night, and he got it right down on that line and he ran into the box, which we just haven't seen him do that too often, and then he pulled it back at the perfect time and Antonio slotted it home. Apart from that, a couple of good little moments from him. One thing I will mention as well is Tilo Kehrer, I think it was him, put a superb pass into Ben Rama before Ben Rama went on the run to play it back to Antonio for him to score. So that was good from him as well. But Ben Rama, I'm liking it, and we need to keep playing him. Let's keep this boy's confidence up, because he is a confidence player. So let's keep it going. Let's keep getting his assists. Hope he was in. How he didn't score against Forest, I do not know. Very, very unlucky. But let's keep it going. Let's keep playing him, and let's see where this confidence can take him.
And as I say, we're not going to mark Flynn down, so we'll go straight to David Moyes then, Jake, before we let you go.
Well, he was sat there with Kevin Nolan, having a jolly old time. When he was fair, he didn't look like it. He was looking very miserable on the telly.
He's Scottish.
Yeah, true. Very, very true. Overall on a whole, starting lineup, I maybe would have made one or two changes, but this is David Moyes and me sat at home in it. Substitutions, they didn't really, they weren't desperately needed in a big moment like they were at Forest, where we needed to make changes to try and make things better, as it were. So good to give people a run out. I would have liked to see a little bit more of Flynn Downs, but he only got 6 minutes in the end, whatever. But we got the job done, and I'm sure David Moyes will just be pleasantly happy that we've got it done. Overall, if I give him a rating, it's average, isn't it? Really, we got the job done. Probably a little bit better than average because we won. Obviously, 6.5, high 6 plus, nearly 7. I don't know.
Okay, ballpark figure. Jake, I'd like to thank you very much indeed for coming on. Duke, anything you want to say to Jake before we kick him out?
No, get rid of it. No, thank you for coming on, young man. No, keep up the good work. And I will, if you ever want someone decent on your channel, just give me a shout, mate. I'll pop over.
Cool.
Always good, always good. And Jake, before you go, just in case there is anybody watching that is looking at you and going,
don't plug it. He's over 3,000. Don't plug him.
No, go on.
Pissing all over us. Stop it.
Go on.
Yeah, you can find me on West Ham Unofficial on YouTube. You can vote for me in Football Content Awards as well if you like. You know, if that's what floats you out, like and subscribe over there. You know, keep watching here because these guys are going to keep on going, keep you entertained all night. And Duke's going to do some weird sound effects now. That's what you can find right here on Forge from Iron.
Jake, appreciate your time, my friend.
Thank you very much, guys. Speak to you soon.
Look after yourself.
Young man. Take
Cheers,
care.
guys. Bye-bye. Cheers.
And just like that, it was just two. So, Duke, we'll come back to you.
He's got a great future ahead of him, that young man.
Yep,
he really
absolutely.
Absolutely fantastic lad. The stuff that he puts out on his channel is just top drawer, Rob. I mean, I'll be honest. I've not caught it for a little while due to obviously work constraints and everything else. But when I do, like cleaning in the morning and stuff, I stick his channel on. He's got a very, very good future ahead of him. I think Sky Sports might want to move now because BT Sports might move in first. Where was I? Ben Rama. I'm going to give him a very high 7.
2 consecutive games in a row, you've given this guy a good rating.
Listen, I was so. I'll tell you what got me yesterday. Did it a couple of times.
Yep.
Once it came off. A couple of times it didn't. A couple of times he ran out of room. A couple of times the defenders read it. He wanted to beat his man. Okay, the goal prime example. Step over, drop shoulder, go the other way, beats his man, gets to the byline, pulls it back, goal. Right? It really is that simple with Saeed Ben Rama, right? That simple with Saeed Ben Rama. Now, that being said, there was a couple of times that he got the ball, dropped the shoulder, player read it, lost possession, ran out of room, ball went out of play, whatever. But it didn't deter him. Whereas before, fans would have got on his back, couple of moans, couple of groans, he's going to hear that, head goes down, confidence goes, and then we don't do anything after that. You know what? I think he did one just before the goal, lost possession. There was no groans. It was go on from the crowd. They wanted to see him beat his man. The next time he tried it, the ball comes in from, as Jake said, comes in from Kera. And there was the right-footed step over, the drop of the right shoulder, which completely bamboozled the defender. He goes infield, and Ben Rama moves the ball with the outside of his left on the outside and goes down the outside of him. Once the defender had taken that one step in on his left, going the wrong way, sorry, one step in on his left, Ben Rama's gone. Now listen, Ben Rama isn't the paciest out there, which is why I think he tends to struggle with beating people on the outside unless he does that trick first and they fall for that and they take that step in, a bit like the Viborg right back did yesterday. Took that step in, which allowed Ben Rama the space on the outside. That's all he needed. Does he become predictable? Maybe. Does he need another couple of strings on his bow? Possibly. But I tell you what, when it works, and it works well, he looks fantastic. And again, against Forest, he wanted to beat people. He was trying to go down the outside. If that wasn't working, he'd come in. You know, he got the shot that hit the crossbar. This week he's got the goal. There was a few more, like I say, a few more tries. He tried to go down the wing, tried to beat his player, and I've been really impressed with him. And I really, really hope that at some point Moyes has the bollocks to go, you know what, Cornay left, Bowen right, Ben Rama as the 10. Because I tell you what, 1-2s between him and Scamacca, you know, the ball's coming back from Scamacca, you know, buzzed into feet to Scamacca, one touch, lay off Ben Rama with that fucking curl of a wand of a right foot when he does. You know, the goal against Brighton, possibly last year. You know, when he ping that top bins. I'm telling you now, we could be looking at double-figure goals for Ben Rama in all competitions this year, if played in the 10. If not, I can see him getting double-figure assists at least.
Fair enough. And as I say, we're not going to mark Flynn Downs on 6 minutes of action, so we'll jump straight to the manager. Yes, he wasn't on the touchline. He was in the stands, but I'm sure he was still pulling the strings, picking the team and all the rest of it. So what were your thoughts?
Frustrated. I don't understand why. Why Nolan was up in the stands with him holding his left testicle. I don't understand what he was there for. From what I'm led to believe, Nolan is the assistant manager. So then Nolan should have been down there alongside him, or even if that's not the case, no disrespect to McKinley. It's not a case of changing my mind, Walshy. It's knowing what was there, he's now coming out. He hasn't been good enough. Let's be perfectly clear on that. Everything he's done previous to this season has not been consistent or good enough. What he's brought to the table now is consistency. That's 3 good appearances from him on the spin. Like I say, or 2 good, definitely 2 good appearances from him on the spin at least. And now we're seeing a little bit more on him. So if he can get that consistency, then we have the player that we thought we were getting. Yeah, I don't Warburton could have been the manager on the touchline, considering his previous experience in that role. But I just don't understand why Nolan was up there alongside him. What I did like seeing, and I still haven't had an answer as to why he's no longer with us, was Piercy sitting in the seats in front of him. But I still don't understand why that man's gone. I actually thought he might have been taking a job at Forest prior to this season. That's not happened. So I still don't understand why he's been removed from the backroom staff. Be it
he wasn't removed. He removed himself.
That's why he's still been removed, hasn't he? That's what I mean.
I think I heard a story that it was something to do with the travelling from his base in Nottingham down to London and back and all the rest of it. And I think he's got is he getting married or something like that? I heard a whisper.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. So your mark for Moyes was?
Listen, he got the job done, Rob. Whether it's or not the job that we wanted to see, I think my prediction was a 4-0, which would be depleted with each youngster that played. I think I said 4-0 with 3, 3-0 with 4, 2-0 with 5. I think was the way I put it. Well, didn't quite get the 4-0, didn't quite get the 3-0, but you want to know something? He still got the job done, didn't he? We still picked up the win. So, I'm going to give him a 7. I was thinking then maybe giving him a 10 because he's done everything we asked of him, but he hasn't. We conceded a goal; it wasn't enough. No, I'm going to give him a 7. It's job done. There's still more to do. He's still got a selection headache on his hand going to Viborg next Thursday because. It's still not over. A goal early in this tie can absolutely kibosh everything. So I think I'll give him a 7.
Fair. And before we knock it on the head, mate, little bit of breaking news. I say breaking news. It's probably a slight exaggeration on my part, but Fabrizio Romano's put a tweet out. We're finally closing in on a deal for Emerson Palmieri of Chelsea. The clubs are prepared to seal an agreement for £13 million plus £2 million add-ons, fees, permanent deal with Emerson discussing personal terms. There are some details to be clarified over the weekend before the deal is done. So it seems to be that he is coming in as our left back.
Really excited for this, Rob. I think he's one of them players. I'll tell you what, Andy, yes, I saw that. She didn't much look like a tea lady to me. I'm not going to lie. She looked a little bit more than a tea lady. and I'm not sure her name's Doris, but yes, I did see that lady there giving him. I think she was actually giving him a bit of an ear bashing. I think just before half time, to be honest. No, back to this one, Rob. I'm really excited for this. I think he's one of those players that's he spent a lot of time out on loan while he's been at Chelsea, yeah, and I think he's just probably sick to the back teeth of not knowing pretty much where he stands. He's obviously got a place in London. He's 28 years old. I think he's now wanting to settle down and just, this is it now. That being said, does that now pave the way for the man that's also trending to the left, to the right-hand side of the screen, in Fofana, making his way, obviously, to Stamford Bridge? I think they were talking possibly a 68 million, something stupid like that, as a transfer deal for that man. So, but no, I'm excited. But words only because I think
Tasmanian Devil there.
I did, yes. Only I think because it shows the end of Aaron Cresswell's kind of monopoly, shall we say, over the position at left back. He's now got some real competition there, shall we say. From what I understand, Emerson does have some significant pace as well, which is something we lack at left back, Rob. So, yeah, very excited.
Good. Okay, so before we knock it on the head then, ladies and gentlemen, as we always do, and I've put it in the live chat, a link. Please don't forget to donate to the Iron Supporting Food Banks charity. This is a charity that operates in the Newham Borough area for families that have fallen on stony ground, especially in this cost of living crisis that we are all going through. But there are some families that can't withstand it, maybe as well as you or I can. So if you can, as I say, you've got the Just Giving link that's on this banner. I have also put it in the live chat, so you can copy and paste it to your browser. Go on there, put a few bob in the tin. And if you're going along on Sunday, and we're going to be doing our match preview for the Brighton game tomorrow, as things stand, if you come out of Westfield and you're going across the bridge and you've got the Aquatic Centre on your left, you've got the Olympic Stadium in front of you, John normally rocks up on a bench there. He's got a flag up. He's normally fairly visible, fairly prominent. If you want to go along and put some cash in his hand, he'll take it. If you want to go along with a couple of cans of beans or whatever, he'll take it. Not a problem. He'll be happy to take that off your hands. Please give this very worthwhile cause your support. And talking of support, ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to like, comment on, and share the stream. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. As always, we thank you very much indeed for your support in this matter. Duke, what are we, my friend?
Massive, and on a European tour.
On the way to Prague. Fingers crossed. Come on, you Irons.